We are back on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio News Talk 1180. We've prided ourselves in never leaving a soldier behind. Well, we do have a soldier behind. Right now in Afghanistan for 3 years, Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl has been sitting in a Taliban prison for the last 3 years. To talk with us about this and what can be done, our guest is Brenda Weber from DoSalute.net. So, Brenda, 3 years, and he just had a birthday, last week or the week before?
Well, last Monday was his 1,000th day in captivity, and then on the 28th of March was his 26th birthday.
Wow, and he's...
That was a pretty sad day in our home, I'll have you know, and probably many hundred of 1,000 other people's homes. So.
You bet, yeah. Tell us about DoSalute.net. Your website.
Well, DoSalute.net is basically our son's website, who is 15-year-old Eagle Scout, first-generation immigrant, and one very, very patriotic family and young man here. And it was our opportunity to, once a month, we try to do something nice for the veterans and soldiers. And on a monthly basis, we send out anywhere from 10 to about 25 packages to Afghanistan. And a number of the men that do come home, we've had a welcome home party for them, given the fact that they're in probably in our own state. But so we started doing that, and we handed out professionally made Christmas wreaths for about 100. It was called 100 Wreaths for 100 Veterans. And when we heard about or learned about this very young and weary soldier being a prisoner of war, it just touched our hearts that we just knew we had to do something. And this family helped one very young man, our boy, from a plight of being an orphan, and he had lived in Russia for 12 years, and 6 out of 12 was in a very, very unstable environment. And it appears that God put this young man now as a soldier into our hearts, and I'll tell you, we just adopted Bowe Bergdahl in our hearts too.
And
we're just trying to really make a difference and see if we can.
You bet, and you are making a difference. It
weighs very heavy on us.
Yeah, you are making a difference. I mean, 74,000 signatures is incredible in 5 weeks. And Brenda, I've got to tell you, I've got 1 or 2 connections in LA. I'm going to try to pass it on to somebody, and we're going to see if we can do whatever we can to help you hit that 100,000 mark. But
God bless you, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you for what you guys do. Now, to download that petition, all people have to do is go to DoSalute.net. And it's on the Facebook page. There's a great picture of your son in his Eagle garb with all of the merit badges and everything on there. And, God, I remember those days. And there is a link to the actual petition that they can download and get signatures and then get them off to you, right?
Right. If they go to the website, it's on the home page, and DoSalute is D-O and then salute.net. And Johnny also has a Facebook page with DoSalute, which allows people to make some comments and maybe ask some questions. And the wonderful thing is, I think he's had about 100 and some new members just this last couple of weeks here and stuff. So the word surely seems to be getting out about Bowe Bergdahl, and it's a great way to stay connected with the people. And we found so many wonderful volunteers, literally from all over the country. And they're very supportive of our son. They're very grateful that he's here, and he's very grateful that he's here and trying to make a difference. And, it's what we're all supposed to be trying to do in our communities and our homes. And, you live by example, and hopefully your children follow suit. And this would be a very classic case of that. So.
And I have to make a comment, Brenda, on that. I think, because Clay and I have had this discussion about, what's the purpose here. I think, just from my experience when I was in the POW organization, when I got out of the Marines so long ago, the important thing is to keep the pressure on as far as the publicity, because if the Taliban sees that, then he's worth more alive than he is dead. And if it gets to the point where he's not worth anything to them, who knows what could happen. I mean, that's the stark reality of it. So it's important to put that pressure on and have the public awareness out there, so they know he has value. Otherwise, to them, he may not have any more value.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've heard a number of different opinions and thoughts about all that. I just know that it's, as an American soldier, he took a vow to defend this country, and now our Wisconsin efforts have taken a vow to do everything we can, and with all the grace and dignity that we can, to bring him home. And he deserves to come home, and hug his mom and dad and marry his girlfriend and live a life of a young man. And he certainly doesn't have it now. And I'll tell you, every time we went to the PO box to pick up the mail, we've actually found ourselves in tears. And people now who work at the airport, or the post office, are actually high-fiving us when we get there. And a number of times we've had a big pink slip in our mailbox that says tub of mail. So much mail has come in on multiple days that they just have to put it in a big tub and then hand it to us.
Well, Brenda,
and we've actually cried right at the post office when we picked him up. We were so rejoiceful that this message has gotten out and that people are demonstrating, what it is to be American and how to get involved and show their pride and patriotism and their compassion for this soldier who's finding himself in a pretty complex and fragile situation.
You bet. Brenda, if I could, I'd love to give the three of you a big hug. Our guest by phone is Brenda Weber from dosalute.net, raising awareness for our POW in Afghanistan, Sergeant Bergdahl.
You know, Brenda, another thing you mentioned that you do is you go to the airport and welcome back the soldiers. And if you recall, our former President, George Bush...
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Okay, our former President, George Bush, he would go to the airport without cameras and welcome back soldiers on a regular basis. But our current president is too busy playing basketball or golf, it seems, to take any time to go welcome our prisoners or our former soldiers returning from Afghanistan. So it's really sad.
Well, we're trying to make this as non-political because we didn't start out that way. Do salute, and our efforts here are to, kind of stay on that very familiar road to our family about showing our pride and patriotism, and at the same time asking people to not let political affiliation get involved because it's such a political world we live in. Everything we do is political. This, we're trying to make it all about loving this country and loving Bowe Bergdahl and bringing some real peace of mind to his family and his girlfriend and the community he lives in. And, we held a candlelight vigil last Friday in Wassa for him. And we had a letter read from our governor, multiple state representatives, our own mayor from Wassa, and he read a letter on behalf of the Haley, Idaho mayor, and beautiful live professional musicians performed. And it was one of the most memorable events I've ever attended in my life. You could just feel everyone's prayers. You could feel everyone just wanting to be a part of this and how grateful they were to be that. And, you look at that flag, and I don't look at a POW MIA flag ever again without thinking about, Bowe Bergdahl.
No,
and all the other ones that don't necessarily have a face, and there's so many that have been left behind and forgotten. And my son knows what that feels like, gentlemen, and it doesn't feel good at all.
No, and I agree with you, Brenda.
We have a live prisoner of war in Afghanistan. Let's please bring him home, and bring him home safely and with honor.
Amen. And you're right. It goes beyond the political because this is an American issue, not a political issue. And what's great is you've been able to talk to his parents, and are they holding up okay through all this? I mean, it's got to be excruciating.
They're very, very strong and yet weary parents. I mean, we all worry when we send our children off to school or to college, and we've had an opportunity to Skype with them a number of times, and I'll tell you, I look into their eyes and I just pray, and here they're very strong, very, very strong. They have great faith, and they have great faith in this country and for our country to do the right thing. And there's been many remains that have come home, and this is a chance for America to rejoice in the fact that one walked off that plane, and I know about 70-some thousand people who Bowe Bergdahl needs a little help doing that, that they'd be willing to help them. So.
And Brenda, let me, in our last 30 seconds, let me again stress where people can help. They can help by filling out these petitions right now, and the petitions can be found at dosalute, that's DOSALUTE.net. Just download a petition, fill it out, and send it off to Brenda Weber and her son Johnny. And Brenda, again, thank you so much for what you do, and I appreciate you taking the time, and we would love to talk to you again as this thing progresses down the road.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts about helping us spread this beautiful message about this young boy who just young soldier who deserves to come home.
And we'll
pray
talk
all the time that he does home, that he gets to come home and he's safe and sound in his arms of his family real soon.
Thank you, Brenda. We'll see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio, News Talk, 1180.